Philippines. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Pakistan.
Madam President, I would like to begin by expressing our appreciation to the outgoing co-chair, Ambassador Manisa Rambali, Permanent Representative of St. Lucia, and the reappointed co-chair, Ambassador Cornel Feruta, Permanent Representative of Romania, for their leadership in steering the process of revitalization during the previous UNGA session. We congratulate Ambassador Feruta and Ambassador Mathu Joyini, Permanent Representative of South Africa, for their appointment as the new co-chairs. We are confident they will make a substantive contribution to the General Assembly's revitalization. Pakistan aligns itself with the statement delivered by Algeria on behalf of NAM, and we would like to add a few points in our national capacity. Madam President, the UN General Assembly is the only principal organ with universal membership. It enjoys extensive authority and functions under the UN Charter as set out in Articles 10, 11, 12, 14, and 35. The only limitations arise from the primary role of the Security Council for the maintenance of international peace and security as set out in Article 12. Pakistan welcomes the several recommendations presented during the consultations on this item. We agree that the agendas of the Assembly should be rationalized, items amalgamated, and redundant issues dropped. We should streamline resolutions and make them shorter and more action-oriented. The Secretariat's reports should be further improved, and we can better organize the plenary and main committee meetings, conduct more focused discussions, adopt more specific decisions, and save money. However, the deficits in the Assembly's performance do not arise from any deficiency in its charter authority or its working methods. While we need to improve the Assembly's processes and methods of work, the revitalization of the Assembly is a political issue, not one of process only. The Assembly's deficiencies primarily arise from the inability and, in large measure, the unwillingness of some major member states to allow the Assembly to fully utilize its authority and potential. Madam President, under the UN Charter, the General Assembly's role is broad and far-reaching. It covers political, security, economic, social, and human rights, as well as humanitarian issues, norm-setting and treaty-making roles, as well as the financial and administrative management of the organization and its secretariat. The General Assembly also has vast complementary and residual authority under the Charter in relation to the promotion and preservation of international peace and security. This authority is explicit when the Security Council is unable to act or is prevented from acting. Since the Security Council acts on behalf of the entire UN membership, it should report more frequently and comprehensively to the General Assembly, especially whenever the Council authorizes action under Chapter 7 of the Charter. The Assembly's role on peace and security also extends to addressing the root causes of conflicts and disputes, in promoting the peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with principles of the UN Charter and UN resolutions, including through the provisions for mediation, arbitration, and good offices. The Assembly also has the principal responsibility to address the so-called thematic aspects of peace and security, such as environment and peace, women, peace and security, and the nexus between peace, development, and human rights, the three pillars of the UN. To enhance the credibility of its decisions, the GA should also establish a dedicated mechanism to monitor the implementation of its own resolutions. As a first step, the Secretariat should be requested to submit, within a specific time frame, reports on the status of implementation of GA resolutions. Madam President, under Article 11 of the Charter, the GA has explicit powers on the progressive development of international law and its codification. The Assembly's contributions in this regard have been considerable and remarkable. It is most disturbing that such lawmaking functions are being appropriated by the Security Council through the ever more frequent adoption of norms and standards through Chapter 7 resolutions. This departure from the Charter is further compounded when norms and standards adopted in restrictive and even non-official bodies are transformed into international law through the back door of such Chapter 7 resolutions of the Security Council. International law must be developed in universal forums with the inclusive participation of all member states. We hope that the Assembly will reassert its role and that future treaties, whether an international tax convention or treaties on development or environment, will be negotiated and adopted by the UN General Assembly. Madam President, regarding the role and authority of the General Assembly, including addressing questions related to international peace and security, preserving the intergovernmental, inclusive and democratic nature of the UN, as well as the need for strict respect for the charter-based prerogatives of the organization's principal organs, in particular, the General Assembly, is important. We also continue to call for improving the relationship and interaction between the GA and the Security Council, which are mutually reinforcing and complementary. Furthermore, we appreciate the consolidation of the process regarding the selection and appointment of the Secretary General, including through the circulation of a joint letter, as well as the holding of informal dialogues guided by the principles of transparency and inclusiveness. In this regard, Pakistan reiterates that such a process should be fully compliant with the General Assembly's mandate. Pakistan also supports the enhancement of the efficiency and effectiveness of the Office of the President of the General Assembly. It also recognizes the necessity of conducting an in-depth review of the office's functioning during the 79th session. We also look forward to the focused discussions during the current session on strengthening the accountability, transparency and institutional memory of the Office of PGA and the selection and appointment of the Secretary General and other executive heads. Madam President, Pakistan will present a working paper during the present session elaborating on its views regarding the revitalization of the General Assembly. We call for the institutionalization of a structured process on GA revitalization that is similar to the Intergovernmental Negotiations, IGN, on Security Council reform. The two objectives are complementary and interlinked and must be treated at par. Our delegation looks forward to working with the two co-chairs to promote these objectives and take forward the work on GA revitalization in a meaningful manner. I thank you very much.